I'm going to go a quick overview of the market, where I'm putting money in 2026, into this year, into 2026. Before I do so, come over to ZTRADEZ.net, check out our terms and conditions page. If you agree to it, feel free to watch the video and join the newsletter and community in the description of this video below. If you don't agree to it, then do not watch this video. Where do I put money? I'm trying to figure that out. I'm already in this. I'm already in silver and gold, back because I knew quantitative easing was coming. I knew that inflation would not come under control. I have it written in 2021. They're not going to get inflation under control. Yes, we've had a lot of deflation this year, and the price of a lot of things are coming down. Housing's starting to fall a bit. It doesn't really matter because it's so expensive still. It doesn't matter if it comes down 5%. It's up like 80 everywhere. Price of beef, that's just no end in sight. Food, that's not fixed yet. Who's going to fix that? I don't know. It's everything's high. Apart when you look at try to buy a quadplex, well, they've priced in all the gains that they're going to make for holding it for 7 years, and if you use leverage, you lose. You're signing up to lose every month. You have to buy it cash. You buy it cash. Okay, you make 4%. Well, I can buy treasuries and do that right now. I can get into JPI and make 8. ETG and make 10 to 13. Right? What do I do? Where do I go? And people have the audacity. This is a monthly, guys, a monthly chart. Look where RSI, it's never been that high ever. And you're gonna get in there? If I could pull up gold futures, we could go back to the 70s and see where this is at. Here's that QE run, leading it, QT, quantitative tightening, and we were running on QE happening, and my gosh, did that run. We just went into QE like right after 9/11 and the war and everything. I'm not going to get into all that. And this is where inflation after 2009 was under control, and QT was priced in, and we ran flat, even though inflation was under control. We had a currency issue again. We knew inflation was going to come under control. Metals ran. People are literally getting in there. You're going to get in there. Sure, it can go higher, of course. But every time RSI has been that high, what happened? And I can pull up, there's 3 times in history where silver has ran this hard in gold. And did it stay up or did it come down? It came down. So what would fix inflation is an 08 scenario, a GFC. That would fix inflation. Inflation came in at negative 0.36 in 2009. And that fixed everything, unfortunately, but it does permanent damage. Anyways, moving on. So metals are out. Equities. Why aren't you? Oh. That looks like a fantastic. Oh, I'm all over this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that looks great. It's like, what? Look at this. We're up over 142. I'm using the extreme scenario here to 329. I mean, there is nowhere I'm having issues. I'm already in equities. I got the April dip in SOXX. I wrote an article on it and had a video on it to document it. I got it right there. Right there. There's some bearish divergence. How about that? Bearish divergence. So am I going to get in there on the bearish divergence when we're pretty much overbought? Or would I get in, maybe there? I bought the April dip. You're going to tell me it's the news headlines that said Bitcoin is an awful investment when it was at 16K, and you inverse the news headlines of them saying that it's going to get worse from where it's at. It's 100% of the time has been the best time to buy when the news is like, we're in a crash. If you go back through history, let's say 40 years, if you aped there, oh my gosh, would you be sitting pretty? A lot of you guys don't understand how the news articles work, and they bring in bias. These people are paid to bring in this Wall Street expert, depending on what side politically the news station stands. If it's the right, they bring someone that speaks bias to the right, left, bias to the left, and you guys don't understand that. And it's also for news headlines. right? When I write articles that are very dramatic in the subject line in the title, they get more clicks. Same thing. And I was getting in here, not based on the news, but based on the 200 EMA on the weekly. So let's go ahead and pull that up. I wonder if that's even here. And I'm going to give you guys my views. Yeah, we were below it. And then I look through history and I'm like, wow. So we were there 2015, 2016, 2018, 2020, 2022. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my sixth chance. And I'm in. So am I going to be getting in here? Where do I get in? I'm already in retail. That's been getting smacked. Lulu, I'm out of. I should have been adding more with this bullish divergence here. I mean, that was beautiful. Target, I'm a bag holder on target, but we have bullish divergence here. RSI is going higher. It only needs to go up like, I'm pretty much like $1, and I've got my money back with cover calls. We got a thin volume area. I'm holding on this. I think in January, this will have a fantastic run. So it's like, what do I do here? Metals out, equities out. I suppose something like JEPI, but I'd rather wait for a crash. What do I do? What I've came up with, there's one equity I'm looking at. I know this company very well because I almost got pulled into the recruiting stuff where they eat up all the college grads and they pay you nothing and they promise you all this stuff, but no one gets there. But the favorite of the manager in the office, when everyone gets fired, which is we're just hired for lead generation to be fired, gets all the accounts, so then he earns the most, and they use him as an example. They use that template in all the offices and all the businesses when you come out of these early college traps that everybody falls into. Selling health and life, annuities, all that, the sales jobs. But there's a thin volume area to 286, 287 that I'm really eyeing. And I like this setup. And RSI, when we went lower over here, was higher from 16 to 25. And you can see RSI was higher as the stock was going lower. And I expect us to go into this thin volume area. And if it goes lower, I'll be getting in more. The one fear I have, this is why I'm light. It looks like UNH is we come down here or fill that like no volume area to 195, 160, possibly 131. If something catastrophic happened, I would be all over that. Job growth post 2020 and job growth stopping or slowing down. Let me see this here. There's earnings right down here. It's been growing. But you can see reality setting in on where the economy's at right now. So of politicians focusing on anything but the economy, right? It's all outside the U.S. I'm going to get in and focus on everything else. Screw you guys, but I'm for you guys. You let me do other people's interests in other countries. I'll sprinkle some breadcrumbs on you. We'll raise taxes over here on these guys and businesses, which make this go down. And I'm not saying that happened, but these are politicians, and I'll give you some breadcrumbs, right? Shh. There's 200 extra a month. Shh. Let me go ahead and go meddle and all these other countries for them and all these foreign affairs. And you guys, breadcrumbs. Hush, hush, right? I promise, I swear. U.S. politicians. If we came down there, I'd be all over this. I don't care if my current position goes red. I will be in this for years. I will hold this for years, and I will suck it up if it's red. So moving on here. We have, this is one of my picks. I started a position. Insiders are buying right now. I've been looking at some of the board members. It was the board members or was it the CEO? Go look it up on FinViz, guys, on Insider. They have all the forms there. Second, this is one of my picks. Second is FXY. And I got one more. This is very speculative. And Japan's being propped up. I don't think we'd let them collapse. You think Japan's just this little island and it doesn't have any, influence across the world. I'm not going to get into all that, but Japan really affects the U.S., the investments, everything. And We're going into quantitative easing, which means our currency is going to, the dollar is going to drop. They're going into quantitative tightening. Now, if we weren't going into QE and they're going into QT, quantitative tightening, meaning their currency goes up, right? It'd still be a great buy, in my opinion. Now, if we're doing QE and they're doing QT, I think this is a perfect trade-off. Perfect trade-off is what I think. And that's an outside bar on the weekly here. I'd love to see us up to 61. I got in at 59.20 was where I got in. What would be cool is this area, 65. I doubt maybe against the dollar we could see 83 again. Maybe this area around 84. That would be great. But this whole area up here and above is my target between 73 and 65 over the next 6 months. We'll see how that pans out. So this is the Japanese yen. No, I'm not getting in leverage Forex where you're stopped out in 5 seconds with a quadrillion-dollar loss. I'm not doing that. I'm not on I forget the MetaTrader or whatever it's called, one of those brokers that I was using back in 2018 with the baby blue icon that looks like it was made on Windows Paint. I'm not doing any of that. So this is a trust FXF. I've already been in the Swiss franc, but they're not going into any QT. It looks like it's just basically going up against the dollar. Should have been in there when Orange got in because we knew we were speculating that rates would drop faster, which they did not. So next I have, not now. I think it's actually going to go down more based on the TA. It's going to go down a little bit more, maybe a little, but it's going to dance in this range for a lot longer. Hold on. Let me pull up a monthly here and move this over. We had 2003 support here, which is right here. We have a low volume up here, and we're coming back down into this range still coming down, dancing here. I don't think this is going to go until Mr. Too Late gets out. RSI looks fantastic, but I don't think it's doing anything until, again, Mr. Too Late's out. And this isn't going to be till May or June, July. I really don't think that this is going to start to pick up some steam, but this is my target's very simple. It was very simple. We lowered interest rates. What did it do to TLT? Right? 113 to 180 basically. And then everyone knows that they're going to eventually have to hike them because it's overkill. And we have a left shoulder ahead and a right shoulder. And I had puts on this, and look at that run after we broke this trend right here on that candle, 143, all the way down to 82. Thing got smacked badly, real badly. So this lower volume area right here to 112 would be where I'd be looking for. Possibly 118 is the max heading into late 2026 on TLT. But for right now, I have a little bit of it. I'll add when Mr. Too Late's out because you're just watching paint dry. So again, FL, slowly adding. Why do I keep doing FL? IT, I'm slowly adding. Okay, short term up in here. Just looks like UNH earlier on this year. FXY, the Japanese yen for their quantitative tightening and our quantitative easing. I think that offset is just going to amplify it. We'll see here. I already have a position I may add. And TLT, not now, but later in the next year. I think the data center gaps on everything need to be filled. I still think that we're going to go after Christmas. I think this week, is going to be, it is what it is. It's going to be choppy up and down. Next week, we'll get a little bit of steam. Could be flat, but I think we will boom into the end of December and into January. And then I think the normal cycle will start February red after the cool off from the January boom. January is usually a predictor for the year. If we're red, then we're red for the year. If we're green for the year. We end the year green. Old school metrics of measurement right there. So That's what I'm looking at here. And if we could have something catastrophic happen between when Mr. Too Late's out and the new Fed chair's in, that would be great because I can go ahead and get in there. And I don't think that Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin's done. The way things were set up, the cycle's just over. And I think that this is going to get filled at some point here. I really do. Sure, we could bounce up a little bit, but I still think ultimately 71's on the table. And RQE may do it, but what's offsetting RQE that's coming is Japan's QT. And that's the fear everyone should have on metals. That's the fear everyone should have on Bitcoin, which is rate sensitive. And we'll see how Japan says they're going to be doing QT all the way into 2026. So my options are limited here, so it's a waiting game. I don't want long swings at this level, at these levels. I can't post them. I'm going to have to wait 6 months until we have a nice crash. Look at what happened. When I called Google for 12.19, that actually expires in 2 days. Let's see where those were at. I called what were they? The 120s or something like that. I'll look it up. It was something ridiculous during the April crash. That's where I would get in long leaps, not here. They're just all going to lose, in my opinion. So I'm going to be warming the bench for possibly the next couple months here. If you guys like this content, make sure to like and follow for more.